Friends and viewer, good day. The Crucible by Arthur Miller. The Crucible take place in Salem, Massachusetts in 1692. The action begins in the home of Reverend Paris, whose daughter Betty lies unconscious and appears very ill. Around midnight the night before, Paris had discovered Betty, his niece, Abigail, and Tituba, his black slave, dancing in the wood, causing Betty to swoon. The local physician is unable to determine the causes of Betty's illness. Mr. and Mrs. Putnam arrive and reveal that their daughter Ruth is also ill. There is there is talk in the village of an unnatural cause. Abigail warns her friend Mercy Levis and the proctor's servant Mary Warren not to reveal that they were all casting spells in the woods. Betty wakes and Abigail threatens the other girls with violence if they tell anyone that she drank blood and cast a spell in order to kill Godey Proctor. Betty loses consciousness again. John Proctor and Abigail talk privately about their former relationship. And prior to the opening of the play, Abigail worked as a servant in the Proctor home. Elizabeth Proctor was ill at the time, and Abigail took no more responsibility within the Proctor household. When Elizabeth discovered the affair, she dismissed Abigail. During their discussion, Abigail becomes angry with Proctor because he refuses to acknowledge any feelings for her. Betty wakes again and is hysterical. The well-respected Rebecca nurse is visiting the Paris household and calms her. Prophetically, Rebecca warns Paris that identifying witchcraft as the cause of Betty's illness will set a dangerous precedent and lead to further problem in Salem. Mr. Putnam asks Rebecca to visit Ruth and attempt to wake her. Ruth is the only Putnam child to survive infancy, and Mrs. Putnam is jealous of Rebecca because of all Rebecca's children are healthy, whereas Mrs. Putnam had lost 7 infant children. Putnam, Proctor, and Giles Corey argue with Paris about his salary and other expectations. Paris claims that a faction is working to drive him out of town, and he disputes their salary figures. Putnam, Proctor, and Corey then begin arguing over property lines and ownership. Putnam accuses Proctor of stealing wood from the land that he does not own. But Proctor defends himself, stating that he purchased the land from Francis Nurse 5 months ago. Putnam claims Francis had no right to the land and therefore could not sell it. Reverend Hall arrived from another town to investigate the strange event in Salem. The people of Salem have summoned him as an expert in witchcraft to determine if witchcraft is behind the children's illness. Hale learns that the girls were dancing in the woods with Tituba and that Tituba can conjure spirit. Abigail blames Tituba for enticing her to sin. Hale then questioned Tituba and she admits that she has seen the devil, as has Godey Good and Godey Osborne. Abigail also confesses to witchcraft, stating that she had given herself to the devil, but she now repents. Betty wakes up and she and Abigail name individuals that they say that days scene with the devil. 8 days later, Elizabeth discovers that Proctor spoke to Abigail privately while in Salem. Elizabeth and Proctor argue over this. Mary Warren comes home from Salem, where she's serving as an official of the court, and gives Elizabeth a puppet doll that she made for her while sitting in the courtroom. Mary Warren tells Proctor that some of the girls accused Elizabeth of witchcraft, but the court dismissed the charge because Mary Warren defended her. Hale arrives at the Proctor house and questions Proctor about his poor church attendance. He asks Proctor to name the Ten Commandments. Proctor names 9 successfully, but he forgets the commandment forbidding adultery. Hale questions Elizabeth as well. Proctor reveals that Abigail admitted to him that the witchcraft charges were false. Marshal Herrick then arrives and arrests Elizabeth. Earlier that evening, Abigail feels a needle stab while eating dinner, and she accuses Elizabeth of attempted murder. The authorities of Salem search the Proctor house and discover the puppet along with the needle. Hale questions Mary Warren and learns that she sewed the puppet and stored the needle inside. Mary Warren also tells him that Abigail saw her sew the puppet and store the needle. Nevertheless, Elizabeth is arrested. The court convicts Martha Corey and Rebecca nurse of witchcraft. Giles Corey tells the court he has proof that Putnam is accusing his neighbor of witchcraft in order to gain their land. Judge Danforth asked the name of the witness who gave Corey the information, but Corey refuses to cooperate. The court arrests him. Judge Danforth informed Proctor that Elizabeth is pregnant. Mary Warren tells the court that she pretended to see spirit and falsely accused others of witchcraft. She reveals that Abigail and other girls are also lying. Abigail denies Mary Warren's charge, however, and she and the other claim that Mary Warren is sending out her spirit against them in the court. Proctor denounces Abigail's charge against Mary Warren, stating that Abigail is a lying whore. Proctor informs the court of his affair with Abigail and state that she is lying in order to have Elizabeth executed, thereby providing herself with the opportunity to become his wife. After Proctor agrees that Elizabeth would never lie, the court summons Elizabeth and questions her about the affair, not knowing that her husband has confessed it. Elizabeth lies about the affair and is returned to jail. Abigail resumes her claim that Mary Warren is attacking her until Mary Warren recounts her confession that she lied about the witchcraft and charges John Proctor as the devil's man. Several months pass. Proctor is in prison, scheduled to hang along with the Rebecca nurse. Elizabeth is also in prison, although the court has delayed her execution until after she gives birth. Hale attempts to convince the prisoner to confess rather than hang, but all refuses. Proctor confesses and signs a written affidavit, but he destroys the document rather than have it posted. On the church door, Proctor is taken to the gallows. So, this